Like a chef improving a recipe through trial and error, we often improve our habits through trial and error. If one approach doesn't deliver the desired effect, then we adjust, like a chef tweaking the amount of an ingredient. This a shining example of what happens when women have access to capital, the money they need to build and expand their businesses, and yet Ye and Kadi heard a lot of no's as they worked to grow a successful enterprise. Often, it was because of their gender.
Internal combustion engine enables the driver to decide which source of power is appropriate for the travel requirements of a given journey. Major U.S. auto manufacturers are now developing feasible hybrid electric vehicles, and some are exploring fuel cell technology for their electric cars.
The term women empowerment is all about authority, or the power embarked on women sharing indistinguishable rights. The term refers to the liberation of women from socioeconomic restraints of reliance. Women comprise around 50% of the country's population. In Brazil, it is unlawful to chop down a Brazil nut tree. Thus, they can be found outside manufacturing plants, homes and on the sidewalks. The fruits are very heavy and rigid. When the fruits fall, they pose a serious threat to vehicles and people passing under the tree. Brazil nut fruits sink in fresh water, which can cause clogging of waterways. Collaboration is key to creating a safe and beneficial AI landscape. The forum seeks to work closely with policymakers, academics, civil society, and other companies to align their efforts and address the multifaceted challenges posed by AI development.
Saying no to these people can be particularly difficult because we like them and want to support them. Not to mention, we often need their help too. Collaborating with others is an important element of life. The thought of straining the relationship outweighs the commitment of our time and energy. It's impossible to remember to ask yourself these questions each time you face a decision, but it's still a useful exercise to revisit from time to time. Saying no can be difficult, but it is often easier than the alternative. As writer Mike Dariano has pointed out, it's easier to avoid commitments than get out of commitments.
To work effectively with heterogeneous student population found in our schools, educators have the responsibility of acknowledging the cultural backgrounds of their students and the cultural setting in which the school is located in order to develop effective instructional strategies. This is not to say you should never attend another meeting, but the truth is that we say yes to many things we don't actually want to do. There are many meetings held that don't need to be held. There is a lot of code written that could be deleted.
The words yes and no get used in comparison to each other so often that it feels like they carry equal weight in conversation. In reality, they are not just opposite in meaning, but of entirely different magnitudes in commitment.
In 2005, donor countries agreed on an accord to harmonize their practices. Since then, aid officials have complained that too little has changed on the ground. Conferences of donors in developing countries still tend to be dominated by a small group of North European governments, with the US often absent.
We agree to many requests not because we want to do them, but because we don't want to be seen as rude, arrogant, or unhelpful. Often, you have to consider saying no to someone you will interact with again in the future. Your coworker, your spouse, your family and friends.
However, there is an important difference between getting feedback while cooking a meal and getting feedback while building a habit. When it comes to building a habit, feedback is often delayed. It's easy to taste an ingredient or to watch bread rise in the oven. At its simplest form, artificial intelligence is a field which combines computer science and robust datasets to enable problem solving. It also encompasses subfields of machine learning and deep learning, which are frequently mentioned in conjunction with artificial intelligence. This year the National Environmental Science Competition received excellent undergraduate and postgraduate entries from all across the country, with a wide range of projects. We are delighted that our awards are encouraging exciting and valuable projects that go beyond research and analysis to develop solutions for a number of key problems. Information about the shortlisted projects will be posted on our website in the first week of June. Analysts were impressed by the improvement in margins reported across all regions, apart from the United Kingdom, and said that this reflected a clear effort to improve profitability across the business. Although the turnaround is still in its early stages and the valuation looks full, given the challenge of turning around such a large and complex business, this is certainly an impressive start. In a genuine republic, the will of the government is dependent on the will of the society, and the will of the society is dependent on the reason of the society. In Federalist 51, for example, James Madison claimed that the extent and structure of the government of the United States make it dependent on the will of society. The aim of our research was to explore how moving home at a young age affected the development of preschool children. There are many different reasons why families choose to move home, some of which are positive and some less so. Over a period of 10 years, our research team has investigated whether the conditions surrounding moving home, or indeed the fact of moving itself, contribute to children's development problems.
In other words, saying no saves you time in the future. Saying yes costs you time in the future. No is a form of time credit. You retain the ability to spend your future time however you want. Yes is a form of time debt. You have to pay back your commitment at some point.
Speed Post tracking service is provided by Speed Post India to check the status of domestic and international parcels and consignments. You can also check the current tracking status of passports delivery. We provide the most secure and fastest speed post tracking service as we do not store speed post tracking number or information with us. Once most animals reach adulthood, they stop growing. In contrast, even plants that are thousands of years old continue to grow new needles, add new wood and produce cones and new flower, almost as if parts of their bodies remained forever young. The secrets of plant growth are reasons of tissue that can produce cells that later develop into specialized tissues. The climate for doing business improved in Egypt more than in any other country last year, according to a global study that revealed a wave of company-oriented reforms across the Middle East. The World Bank rankings, which took at business regulations, also showed that the pace of business reforms in Eastern Europe was overtaking East Asia. The development of easy-to-use statistical software has changed the way statistics is being taught and learned. Students can make transformations of variables, create graphs of distributions of variables, and select among statistical analyses all at the click of a button. However, even with these advancements, students sometimes still find statistics to be an arduous task.